All right, Dan, I think we're recording.
Private parts.
Mm,
All of the private parts.
there you go.
Both
That's
of
a
them.
good
I'm not
intro.
going to segregate. I'm not going to just pick one. It's all of them this time. All of them.
Wow. You
Yeah.
are so inclusive.
I
Super
know.
inclusive.
I'm very progressive. Very
Yeah.
brave also.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
all of the things.
Yep.
Welcome to episode 55 of the Current Gen podcast. I'm Tim here with Kyle and Dan. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Thank you, Kyle, for subjecting yourself to our shenanigans.
Oh, I'm here for all the shenanigans. Sign me
He's
up.
here for it. Listen, the fact that after our overly long, bloated Game of the Year episodes didn't chase Kyle away forever, that
I'm
says
here.
something about his character.
Me and Jeff's podcast were always 3 hours plus, so like we come from a long line of podcasts that are so long no one's gonna listen to them. So
if we wrap it up at 2, you're like, "What's going on? You guys in a
yeah,
hurry?"
right. What was I boring you guys? What was happening?
Oh, you want me to keep going? Okay.
Yeah, I've got plenty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been we've talked about this last week with Jeff a little bit, how it's been not a bad year for games. You know, as I was re-listening to it as I was editing it, I was like, I maybe came across a little too much like this has not been a great year for games. I've enjoyed a lot of video games this year, but it just hasn't been a remarkable. There's not like a game you can point to that was like a marquee tentpole yet. And we're about to wrap up Q1. And there's been some really good ones between Hitman 3. We talked about them last week already, so I won't recap all of them. You know, we're hooked on Valheim. Some people are loving Bravely Default or Cyber Shadow, or I'm sure Monster Hunter Rise will scratch a lot of itches for certain people. Some folks that's not their jam, and I get it. But that's kind of what this year's been. There's been, I think, remarkable games in very niche genres for the most part this year, unless I'm forgetting a major release.
I mean, I think over the years, especially the past maybe like 5-6 years, Q1 has shown us that, you know, like Resident Evil, like Capcom's great about it. Like there's been some Resident Evils that pop up in the Q1. It's like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, we have to wait a little bit longer for Village, but you know, it's I think it's kind of tradition for the first you know, part of the year to not be like spectacular.
I think I've been spoiled a little bit though. Like we had, it was just 4 years ago that we had Horizon and Zelda both in Q1.
Within like 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
What a time to be alive.
That was painful.
And then it was either I think it was the year before that we got Dying Light. There are years when we got Monster Hunter World, I think in 2018 maybe to kick off the year.
Yeah.
So I feel like there have been years where that Q1. Oh, and there was Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that was a January game.
Was that? Yeah. And that's a huge one. So
exactly. So I feel like there's usually something you can point to. Not always. There's some years that are like this one. I feel like maybe last year was the same way. I can't remember. But anyway, all that to say, it's not been a bad one. It's just been a very low key, kind of weird year.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, and it's been talked about ad nauseum, everything's been delayed, and companies are they had to take a little while to get their footing in what it's like to work remotely. And I think most of them are back at it. I would imagine their efficiency is back up to close to normal, at least for most of them, even if they're working remotely. So that's really cool. I'm glad we're kind of getting back into a groove. A lot of rumors that we're hearing about whether it's Nintendo or whoever else, there could be some exciting stuff yet to come in 2021 in terms of video games, but it's just been kind of interesting. So what I thought we would do, instead of trying to cover too many headlines, and we'll get there in a few minutes, I wanted to play a little game with you guys. So I'm in the marketing field. I do a lot of digital marketing, and not necessarily considering myself a marketer, although that is a major part of my job. I'm mostly on the digital nerdy IT side of marketing.
Sounds way more fun than regular marketing.
Yeah, it's a lot more sincere, that's for sure. Marketing can feel very sleazy and insincere.
Absolutely. I get furious when I see a commercial at all anymore. Like it's 2021. Like get your damn commercials out of my face. I don't need to buy your toothpaste that you're trying to like. If I need toothpaste, I'll go buy toothpaste. You don't need to tell me I need toothpaste. Like,
see, I agree with you, but I'm going to say something controversial real quick. I kind of miss old commercials in a way, because when I watch any kind of content now that has ads, especially on YouTube or elsewhere, I feel like I'm seeing the same ads so often.
Sure.
And I'm just like, stop targeting me with stuff and just put it on some kind of rotation where I see something new. Like I'm tired. And that's what I loved about, Saturday morning cartoons. Sure, you're really only getting like 15 minutes of actual show and then a ton of ads for cereals and toys and all kinds of stuff for kids. I felt like we got a different commercial every time, but maybe not. Maybe it was more repetitive than I remember. Who
Well,
knows?
you're a kid. You're just like, oh, like it's something cool. Even if it was commercials, which are dumb, it's like if you were a kid and it was like for a toy or like you said, like a cereal, something fun. You're like, oh, sweet, yeah. You know?
I loved those. I loved like Tricks commercials. Like I loved that stuff.
Same.
You know.
I can still sing the Mighty Max jingle in my head. From,
Mighty
like, those,
Max.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah.
Classic.
Some of those things are embedded in me.
Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops, and you had all that stuff, and then you had all the GI Joe and all that kind of stuff commercials for toys.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Barbie ones, I was like, this is stupid, but I would still watch it. Like, oh, that's kind of look at the way that house opens up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that got me thinking about the way that video games, especially consoles, have been marketed over the years. We just had a couple of major consoles, of course, launch this past holiday season, and not only were we marketed to then, we still get marketed to now. And of course, Kyle and I have been lucky enough to land a couple of PS5s, but a lot of folks are still having trouble.
That's my grunting, is just like, yeah, they're marketing, but for what? For what product that's available to whom?
I think that's the struggle, and that's why I think you, Kyle, were one of the ones that said, I don't even want another Switch until they can prove that they can make these things. So I'm gonna have a heart attack trying to get one of these things.
I will have an aneurysm if we have another console I have to chase down for 4 months, you know.
I mean,
manufacturing back up to where it needs to be to get these things on the market. But
yeah.
But we get marketed to all the time, and there's usually some kind of slogan. Do you guys happen to know what's the PS5 slogan right now?
Was it play everything or something everything?
I think it's play.
It only plays everything.
I've heard people make jokes about how it doesn't play everything.
Well, that or like, yeah, it only plays everything that I can't, because I can't buy one or I can't find one or whatever. So
yeah, they've had a few different ones that bounced around. I think it was Play Has No Limits was the one that was I had for some reason, but maybe they did switch it. Anyway, that was their theme though, was the idea that they're trying to, the gates are open wide for everyone to join in, which is again ironic,
right?
How few people can get access to the consoles.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it that way. They've sold so many. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about, is console slogans. Every console's had one, even the most obscure consoles to all the way to the biggest of the big consoles over the years. So I've got 10 here. I'm going to read you the slogan, and you guys cannot Google it. I want your eyes up here.
So this is your version. This is your version of Battle Square, Tim.
This is my current gen Battle Square for us. You two are facing off. Okay, it's Kyle versus Dan.
Oh wow. Okay.
And we're gonna keep score. They're all worth 1 point each. Let's see what happens. And then at the end, if there's a tie, then whoever pays me the most via PayPal instantly wins. All right.
Okay.
Fair enough. Dan then.
I'm a baller. Look at all these lights I can afford. So many lights.
Yeah, Dan's got a big glowing blue palace behind him there.
That's right.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to read you a slogan, and you tell me. You each get. Oh, let's just say you each get 3 guesses, because I'm not giving you any multiple choice. You have to just pick.
Okay.
All right. Couple things to keep in mind, by the way, before we jump in. Many companies, actually most of them, even during the life cycle of one console, will swap their slogan out for something else. So I didn't always pick the most obvious one that would give it away. A good example of that is Sega tended to use the name Sega in a lot of their slogans back in the day. Like, what Sega does, Nintendo don't. That was one of their big ones back in the day. That's a little obvious. So is
this just the big 3, or just like even going farther back, it could be any of them? Okay. So Sega could be one, but
could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stadia.
Try to get
on there. It's a possibility.
try to get specific.
Stadia. Don't buy one.
Stadia's not one of them, but now I'm curious. Did they have? I think they had a slogan.
Oh, they did. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they had to have. Yeah.
Because they had a commercial.
That's Play for Everyone.
Yeah. Does it though?
Yeah. Except for unless you have bad internet, then it's not Play for you. So.
Play for anyone with a good internet connection. All right. Here we go. The first one. Power your dreams.
Ooh, I like that.
Dreamcast.
Nope. That's your first guess. Dan, what about you?
Power your dreams? Jesus. PlayStation 1.
Nope. All right, so you both guessed a little bit more, a little older. I'm going to give you a hint and say it's much more recent.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Either one of you, jump in if you think you know it.
PlayStation 3.
Nope.
Xbox 360.
Nope. Any
This
last
one's not familiar to me at all.
PlayStation Vita.
Nope.
All right,
there
I'm
you
out.
The Switch?
No, sir. All right. Power of Your
Huh?
Dreams was actually part of a big presentation we saw that included the console being revealed during Game Awards, coming up through what looked like a liquid ocean, and it was it looked like a big, not a cylinder. That's the wrong word. Like a tower. It was the Xbox Series X, and it said,
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Power Your Dreams. What does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
sounds like something from Parks and Rec, like that
Yeah.
Grizzle company.
Literally, when you said that, I was like, I know I've heard that in one of the shows I love. I can't.
It's like a Parks and Rec, like that Grizzle company's slogan.
Yeah.
All right, so 0 points so far. Number 2, live in your world, play in ours.
Oh, I know that. Oh man. I've had this one screamed at me a few times.
Like I know it. PlayStation 2.
Ding, ding, ding. Got it.
Yes.
We're not really. It's not like taking turns. It's just shout it out if you know it.
Sure. Yeah. He beat me to it. I had no idea what that one was, but
Right,
I knew I'd seen it so many times.
Yep. And they had some cool commercials too. I remember those commercials back in the day. I think those were live action commercials if I remember right. But I
know 3 was live action commercial. No, 2 was too. Yeah.
They've had them periodically. Like they have like those ones where it's like there's people dressed as characters from various franchises.
Yeah. No,
Sony catalog.
3 was all the CG weird ones, like the abstract, like
He did a lot of that.
weird. Yeah. That's I'm mixing those up.
That's why I didn't buy one because it was stupid. All right, just kidding.
Yes.
I don't want to buy this stupid.
See,
weird
the commercials.
trading machine.
Yeah, the commercials didn't sell you.
All right, this one's interesting. It's thinking. So 2 words.
Ooh, that's very
It's thinking.
familiar.
Hmm.
That's very familiar.
Xbox 360.
Nope.
Original Xbox.
Nope.
Ah, I thought okay.
You're not too far off in terms of like the timeline. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, GameCube.
Nope.
Damn
Oh,
it.
that's good. Yes. I'm gonna go Dreamcast again.
Yeah, you got it. Dreamcast.
Ah,
Yes.
that one actually sounded very familiar. It's like I know
Yeah,
I remember that one. I just couldn't. Yeah.
Yep, the Sega Dreamcast. They actually tried a whole bunch of different slogans in their desperation to get that
Oh
thing.
God.
It was the last.
It was
the
a
last
great
slogan,
console,
It's dying.
but no one cared.
Yeah, it went from it's thinking to it's free to
Please
it's
buy us.
dying.
I know it was very sad. I mean, it's it's because they had the games were on CDs and people started just ripping the games, so then burning their own copies of games and
Yeah.
You know,
PS2 also came out, so
Dreamcast might be the best console that failed. That and Wii U are probably right beside each other in terms of like those are actually really good systems that just didn't catch on for whatever reason. Yeah. All right. So it's 1-1. Here's a interesting one for number 4. Get some in all caps.
Yes,
okay.
That
sounds so
Xbox.
edgy. Yeah, it does.
That
It sounds so
like Xbox
edgy.
One. I'll say Xbox One.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Dang.
Get some.
Get some. Super Nintendo.
Nope.
Ugh. All right.
Sega Genesis.
Nope. Think outside the box
Outside the box.
in terms of the main companies.
Ouya.
Yes.
No,
It's
no
Ouya.
way.
Oh,
no
it's-
way.
Okay, so get this, and I don't know if this is true or not. You can't believe everything you read on Reddit, okay? But apparently, someone from the Ouya marketing team or whoever had control of the Twitter account was trying to advertise that really moving game. You guys might remember it, that Dragon Cancer,
Okay. Yeah.
and it was coming to Ouya, and they would finish every Ouya tweet with "get some," and so they wrote, "Make sure that the new moving game. It tells a story about battling cancer as a family and blah blah blah." It was like a very moving sentence.
Yeah.
And then it said period, and it said "get some."
How tone deaf. That's awesome.
Dude.
Dragon Cancer. Get some.
Yeah, Dragon Cancer gets some.
Yikes!
Yeah.
All right, so it's 2-1.
I don't even know, man.
I think Dan was trying to be funny, and he nailed it.
I
Yeah.
literally was. It wasn't a
Wow.
legitimate guess. I was just like, oh yeah. Like,
That's
All
about
right,
as
here's-
outside the box as you get. So.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Number 5, greatness awaits.
ooh.
Oh, that's Xbox 360.
PlayStation 4.
Yes, got it.
Oh wow.
If I didn't get that one, I'd have to leave, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was gonna be embarrassed for you if you didn't get that one. All right, it's PS4. All right, here we go. Now you're playing with power.
Mm.
Oh man. Is that Xbox 360?
Nope.
Super
Really?
Nintendo.
No, but the Super Nintendo one was quite close to that.
N64.
Nope.
Say it again. And now you're playing with power. Is that what it is?
Now you're playing with power. Yep.
Okay. GameCube.
Nope.
That's 3 for me.
Original Nintendo. NES.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's like the power was
You're
like it's
slaying
Nintendo
this
power.
right now.
guys-
Oh God.
I'll give you guys one guess. What do you think the Super Nintendo was?
Now you're playing with more power.
Now you're playing with superpower.
Superpower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Game Boy one was?
Now you're playing with mobile power.
Portable power. Yes. Now you're playing with portable
Wow.
power.
Okay. They had a little thing
Maybe
going
I
here.
should do this like for a living, you know?
Wow,
I
yeah.
think what happened there is Nintendo was like, we don't need a marketing team. We can do this. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need to hire those guys.
Yeah,
We'll
no.
just name it.
Yeah.
All right. So that was number 6. Number 7, 3D game for a 3D world.
N64.
No.
3D.
3D world.
Virtual Boy.
Yes.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Dan watched a lot of commercials, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? I
You know
have
all this fresh Colorado air, not too good for your memory. So.
You know what? I have a terrible memory, so this has just all
No,
been embedded.
No, you
somewhere in
don't.
the back of my head. Just
Yeah,
memories are pouring out.
Your
Like,
subconscious has something to say to you about your bad memory.
We're activating something deep
Yeah.
inside of Daniel, and he
Yeah,
didn't
it's
realize it
just-
was there.
Right.
All right. Welcome to the next level.
Welcome to the next level.
Kyle, you go first.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Since this one doesn't really have any clues in it, I will give you a clue. It was used by the same company over multiple devices for a couple of years.
Welcome to the next level.
Welcome
Sega
to the
Saturn?
next.
Sega Saturn.
No.
So generic. Welcome to the next level.
So yeah, if you can name one of the consoles that it was used on, then we'll count it.
Next level. PlayStation, like Vita, PlayStation, PSP. No?
Nope.
Do we say Sega Genesis? No, because they do say Nintendo. We do Nintendo what Nintendo doesn't or something.
Well, keep in mind that a lot of companies
does
use
what
more than
Nintendo
one
doesn't.
slogan.
I'm like drawing a blank because I've named so many that I can't think of the other.
Yeah, right.
Did you guess yet? I think Kyle guessed twice.
I
You guessed-
said Genesis.
Oh yes, you got it right on Genesis. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Just so they stopped
why-
using it at Saturn. That's
Saturn was close,
yes.
but they used it for the Genesis, Game Gear, and Sega CD.
Oh,
okay.
Those are the three they used it for.
Man,
Welcome to the next level.
It's just rolling out of my brain.
Yeah, you're
rolling
like you're perfect at this. It's crazy.
I'm perfect cell.
All right, here's a good one. This one might be my favorite one out of all of them. I'm not sure. Dude, get your own.
All right.
It included
That's
a
got to be a
series.
hand. That's got to be a handheld.
It included a series of commercials where there was actually a character who would say that all the time in the
I'm
commercials.
gonna say PSP.
Nailed it.
Yeah. It
I
was
remember that one. Yeah.
it was that kid from that was it the
Dude,
Paul
get your
Rudd
own.
that movie that has Paul Rudd and was it
Jason
Stifler?
Segel? No.
Paul Rudd and Stifler. Oh, role models.
Yeah. Is it
Yeah.
that with the
I
little
think it's
black
that-
kid?
I think it's that same kid that was in those
Yeah,
commercials.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
right,
ringing
yeah.
a bell. Yeah, I remember
So-
him popping up.
I can see the commercials in my head, and I'm just like, I already have one.
Yeah.
So I was trying to look up slogans today, and I was starting with memorable ones, and then I was like, what was the PSP slogan? So I Googled PSP slogan, and the result that came up was the Progress Singapore Party, not the PlayStation Portable, and their slogan was "For Country, for People." In case you guys were wondering.
I wonder.
That's-
They
You
could
know what?
almost.
That's
They could almost fit with the PSP too. So
Yeah.
Almost for country, for people.
it's interchangeable, really. It's interchangeable.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Thank you guys for sticking with me on this one. I had fun looking them up anyway. Last one. Touching is good.
3DS, DS.
Got it.
That's
DS.
perfect. Yeah.
Inappropriate, Nintendo.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
They
no
were
joke.
definitely
Yeah,
targeting a certain demographic with that one.
sure, yeah.
Perverts.
I don't know if that one lasted too long in terms of like were they approved to use it for a while, but they certainly tried it at one point.
Yeah.
So the N64 I almost used. They had some interesting ones. They did where is it? They had one called Change the System, which didn't ring a bell with me at all.
Mm.
I don't
But
remember
then
that
I
one.
did remember this one, the Get In or Get Out.
Yes,
Yeah,
that would have been
yeah.
been pretty on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use that one, but I was like, this, they're gonna get
Yeah.
that right away. But that was a
I'd
pretty
be like, N-Gage. Is it N-Gage?
Yeah.
Dude, what was N-Gages? I bet theirs was bad. Because that's like, what was that? Was that early 2000s or
Yeah, that was
Late-
early 2000s. I thought.
late 90s? I can't remember.
I think Get Out and Play. Does that sound right?
No, that's not terrible. It's just generic.
They used the tagline "Get Out and Play" to promote it.
Okay.
Supposed to be released on 2007.
Oh, really?
Later than I thought.
That seems late.
Yeah.
I was
Well, I
working
know
at-
they.
I was working at GameStop at that time, and I don't remember having those in our stores or even.
'Cause I
selling
know there
them.
was like a second N-Gage, right? Like it kind of like.
I might be looking
updated
at
one?
a service. Okay, there was a 2003 smartphone, gaming smartphone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
it's
you go.
cool. Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds all right.
So this was their gaming service they were trying to launch. Okay, this is different, but still,
Okay.
Get Out and Play was one of them. And then the Game Boy Color one I thought was cool. Escape to a World of Color. I like that one.
That's good.
There was How Will You? No, excuse me. How You Will Play Next
Yeah.
for the Wii U.
This
Yes.
game would be fun with like company slogans, like get in the game, like just doing all like EA Sports slogans and
Oh my
like
gosh,
because
yeah.
I remember in the 90s and early 2000s, like every company had like a
Yeah.
slogan too.
Yeah.
Yep. There are certain companies too that did they had a very iconic opening sequence to their games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I think it was Acclaim where the thing went across the letters. It kind of like crossed it out.
Yeah.
Remember that where
yeah.
the A line kind of extended, stuff like that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, they were trying to do like what the movie, like when you watch a movie and like it shows the studios and everything, and they kind of have their little intro, like
Yeah.
they were trying to do that, but
Right.
nobody really does it anymore. I think
So
maybe
there
it's
you go.
a couple, but
Well, what we do know is companies still use those to this day for their various marketing efforts and for devices. You still see those happening all the time. I mean,
I love
Apple's probably got the most memorable one right now that's been going for I think about 11 years. That's Think Different, which I think has been their thing for a long time.
kind of ironic because since Steve Jobs died, they haven't been thinking that differently.
Yeah.
Although they
Kind
might
of-
have changed it since.
Been kind of the same iteration for a while now, huh?
Yeah, or just copying other things, right? Like nothing really
still
unique.
Think Different. Oh, it was first introduced in '97,
Oh
Wow,
wow.
wow.
Okay.
What a run.
so it's been 23
The
years.
Think Different creator really got paid for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm.
It's ironic because isn't that grammatically incorrect? Shouldn't it be Think Differently?
Yeah.
But-
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, when you have billions of dollars, Tim, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't roll
have
off the tongue.
English
Doesn't roll off the
properly?
tongue either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No one speaks English properly on the internet. Everyone just uses
think
abbreviations.
different.
Yeah. The word "you" is just a letter "U."
Yeah.
It's just chaos.
Grammar be damned.
Yep.
So it was. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a blowout, but it ended up being pretty close, 5-4. with
Oh
Dan.
wow. You would have given me 20 more questions, I would have caught up. I was told ahead.
Because Kyle answered those last 3 in a row. No, he got the last 2 in a row. Oh, so it was 6-3. My bad. 6-3. Still
Wasn't a shutout.
respectable. Okay, you made it
Better-
respectable.
Thank you. Respectable. Thank you.
Better than what Derek does, because Derek just basically is half awake when we do these anyways. Because he just doesn't like doing them apparently. So,
Yeah.
The game over.
yeah.
No, this reminded me of like Easy Allies does games like this. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I did.
and I got to do it.
I did that one on that one episode. It was it Real Animal or Pokemon?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's a fun
That
one.
is a really fun one. I actually, because my kids are such diehard Pokemon fans, we did. I didn't do Real Animal or Pokemon. I did the one that Easy Allies did with medications.
Mhm.
It was like prescription medications or Pokemon,
Oh.
Okay.
and
Yeah,
it's,
that one, yeah.
it's legitimately difficult. Like even
Yeah,
my kids who have the cards, they have the games, they have all the stuffed animals, they play it all the time.
Yep.
They even will like pretend, and they know it inside and out. And they were like, that sounds like a Pokemon. And I'm like, nope, that's a drug.
There's over 900 Pokemon, and I mean, there's probably over 900 drugs. So
Yeah.
Well, they
it's
haven't played every
easily.
single game, so they oftentimes are like, well, I assume that's one that I haven't played.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Easy Allies, got to give them credit for some fun creative games like that. That's kind of a similar vibe to what I wanted for this game. So yeah,
That's good.
I like those guys a lot. All right, well, let's talk about some headlines that might jump out at us. So if you've got what we'll do this week, instead of me coming up with a curated list of here's what's important, we'll just highlight stuff that we thought was of note this week, each of the three of us. So I'm going to kick it off, and then we'll throw it to Dan to talk about, well, if you want to wait on the Square Enix stuff, you can, or you can jump right into those announcements they had in their presentation yesterday. And then Kyle, if there's anything that jumps out at you too. But I'll get started off. I'll start off on the negative, and that way we can swing up to positive maybe later.
Yeah.
It's not that negative. I didn't expect this game this year anyway, but the Gotham Knights game that I think Rocksteady that's working on that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the other
no.
one.
It's the people who did Origins.
It's Montreal. Is that WP Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal. Yeah.
Okay. That's delayed to 2022, and it's one of those things where there are certain games. I don't know what meets this qualification for me personally, but there are some times when I hear that and I'm like, yeah, no, that's good. Delay it and make it really good because I don't want a garbage Batman game. So make it really fun. So this is one of those games where it doesn't bother me at all that they want to delay it.
It seems like there's a lot of systems going on there, and they're really trying to emphasize the co-op stuff. So I think they really have to nail it because, like, people love Batman. They want to play Batman with their friends. If it doesn't work well, people are going to be furious.
Absolutely.
So. The other ones worked so well, you know.
And I think there's a focus on like co-op takedown. So like you do like really cool moves together as like you tangle down somebody, and if that doesn't feel good or if it looks weird or it doesn't line up properly, like Dan said, people are going to be really mad. So push it back. It's fine.
I think we were pretty nice about Marvel's Avengers in our Game of the Year talk about it. I don't think we bashed it, but I think we were honest about it too. That game had some great moments and also had some repetitive letdowns, and it didn't quite deliver everything you'd want from a superhero game. Again, not bad, but I didn't think it was amazing. I think everyone kind of agreed it wasn't amazing. So to me, that's kind of why I'm hoping that they take the time they need for a game like Gotham Knights, where it looks like co-op is a big piece of that. And I don't want another Marvel's Avengers. I want that story. That story was good, but I don't want the gameplay of a Marvel's Avengers. So
I almost and I know we've talked about it before, and I've mentioned it, like the way that the game is structured, like hopping into like the map, like leaving from the ship and the jet and everything. Like I wish they kind of almost do like the way that Gotham Knights looks. I kind of like I just want like this whole big like opened area.
Same.
And then just kind of like go off in a direction and do some stuff. Like I feel like they should have done that, But,
I want every game to be like Valheim, where you start in the same place together and then you
I want to play this game so
go
bad it hurts.
whatever direction you want.
Kyle,
I really need to get on. Like, I just don't have any sort of device that could run that. But it's got to come to consoles at some point. Like, everybody and their mom is talking about this game. Like, it is coming out to everything at some point.
Well, to be fair, I have my laptop is 4 years old, and it was really like even 4 years ago, it was like mid-range.
Yeah.
If that. So like, if my 4-year-old laptop can handle playing it, like I have to lower some of the settings just to make it run a bit smooth.
Maybe I'll loop back and see if I can't look at the specs of my computer and see. But like, this is like a notebook. Like, it runs Skype barely. Like, you guys are choppy.
The frame rate for this call is super poor.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I also wanted to throw this one on there too before I throw it over to Dan, and that is, I just now spotted this one. The much anticipated addition of Spider-Man to Marvel's Avengers is not happening until this summer, or at least not before the summer. I guess they didn't even confirm it's happening in the summer. It's just that's not happening before that. We can tell you that.
Originally, it's supposed to come out in December or January, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought we would have it now.
Well, I think they kind of had to take on a larger workload because of the stability issues and loading times and just all the issues that the game had just out the gate. Like people. Yeah. So I think they wanted to make sure that the game was gonna like run and play better, and also it's getting the next gen update.
Which I played, and I'll talk about later in the games that we're playing right now. But
they either are going to in the near future, or maybe it's way far away. I think they're going to add Black Panther and
They
the
are,
new
yeah. That's
Wakanda area.
this summer, yeah. That's this summer. So
Yeah.
you gotta give it to them. They're really believe in this game.
Yeah.
Like, despite
Yeah.
everything, like they really believe in this product. So they have a whole year roadmap planned out for the whole year. So it's like, they're not shying down from this game.
It's just
this is not an Anthem situation, you know.
Yeah, they're not giving up yet, at least.
Well,
not yet, at least.
There's way more like cachet there. I mean, it's Marvel, it's Avengers, you know.
Yeah.
But
if it keeps on going on sale for $10 or $20, people will buy it. I mean,
it's just a bummer though, because it's like I don't want to gauge it just strictly based off of the internet, because the internet is cynical and stupid and complain about everything. But like anytime I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see an ad for this game, there's always like the laugh reaction, just always. It's like people just, and there's always like the one person who's like, "Oh, that's cool for the 5 people still playing it." LOL. It's like, all right,
the way you said that with that cadence really sounded like the internet is coarse and rough and it gets everywhere. Like, that's kind of what it sounded like.
Now we're speaking my language.
Now Kyle's on board.
Lean forward, interested.
The internet is like the sand is to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, speaking of this game, which Square published, let's talk about what Square's been talking about recently. There's some exciting stuff, some less than exciting stuff, but walk me through what I mean, maybe don't hit every announcement, but what is the stuff that we should care about?
I mean, we'll just bypass Outriders entirely. I know Derek's excited about it, but like it seems like they've been showing this game a lot, so I mean, it's
I'm
coming
excited
out
about it, but I didn't need to see more. That game is coming out like in 2 weeks, and we just got a huge demo. Like,
I was gonna say there's a demo for it. Yeah, exactly. There's a demo for it. Let people experience it. They don't need to.
The big thing is it's gonna be on Game Pass, so Xbox gamers
huge.
Can play it.
Yeah, it's huge.
But I would say the two biggest things. They had said, I think it was leading up to, since last week, they were going to announce the next Life is Strange. So the next one is called Life is Strange: True Colors. This one is a new story, so it's not, again, it's a new cast of characters, just like the second one was. Not connected to the first or second. Well, I mean, it's the same universe, I
think her friend is from Life in the Storm. Her friend.
They did say that, but I didn't play. Was it Before the Storm?
Before the Storm, yeah. Whatever I said, yeah. Before the Storm. Yeah.
Well, they did mention that, but I never actually got around to playing that one. So, it looks nice graphically. The town that it's set in is very vibrant and colorful. It's like a town sort of at the bottom of a mountain. So
it's in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Tim and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see Colorado flags in the background.
We're in this game. It's about me and Kyle.
It is. Yeah, we're the main characters. Yeah, we're the empathic psychics. So.
That's right.
Well, yeah. So,
by the way, spoiler: I kill Kyle. So it's just
right.
Well,
he cries about it though. It's a really sad.
I do. It's sad. It's a hard decision to make.
Well, Life is Strange: True Colors will star Erica Mori as Alex Chen, a young Asian American woman with psychic powers who moves to Colorado to discover the truth behind what happened to her brother Gabe. So I guess her powers are like, they describe them as psychic powers, but like they almost like made it seem like it was like her powers is just like feeling emotions, or like seeing emotions, and and I guess like if somebody's like in a really bad mood, it like actually directly affects her, and like she kind of feels like almost like this darkness kind of taking over. So that
She's
probably
Mantis.
The what?
She's like Mantis from Marvel, right? Isn't that what Mantis's thing is all
about?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. That's a good comparison. Exactly. So that is launching September 10th.
Every episode at once, right? Is that what they said?
That's kind of the gist that I got. Yeah, they didn't say anything otherwise, right?
They said that you can play it all at once, or you can play them as episodes.
Finally. Like any game, you can play it slowly or all at once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like a real game now, guys.
Yeah. I don't like the episodic thing. Just give me the whole game. Just wait for all of it.
I like it fine because I like the ability to talk to people about it, but like I don't like it when I'm waiting 6 months for the next episode.
Sure.
Which is the first Life is Strange took place over the course of like a year and a half, and I'm just like, you guys, like, you got to put these out quicker. Like
much like WandaVision, Kyle, I don't want to be piecemealed. Like, just give me the whole experience, damn it. All right, let me watch it the way I want to watch it. Let me experience it the way I want to experience it. This is America. I want it now, damn it.
Yeah, sure. I like recapturing the water cooler talk days, where it's like, did you see this week's episode? Wow. But like there's many pieces of me that agree with you where I'm just like, just give it to me. I'm just trying to watch this.
I know that's what you want, but Disney Plus wants your subscription for an extra couple
how
months.
else are they going to eat
sure.
you 2 months of subscriptions if they release all of Mandalorian at once? You know,
that's fair. That's fair. And then kind of a small thing leading from that is they're remastering the first Life is Strange and then Before the Storm as sort of like a collection. So that's cool. That one is, I mean, it's the only one I've played, so I can't say it's my favorite because I haven't played Before the Storm or the second one, but that game's really special to me. I really enjoyed that game. The ending is just like a gut punch. I think regardless of which ending you choose, I mean, they're both pretty dark.
They're both pretty dark. They're both pretty good. There's an end to a couple of those episodes where I'm like, I was jaw agape, like just I cannot believe this is happening. You know, I care so much about these stupid teenage girls. You know,
it was a great game.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. And then the other big thing was Project Atheia. Which was first announced at the PlayStation's June 2020 event. The all-new IP from Luminous Productions, originally called Project Atheia, has a official title. It's Forspoken. Kind of a weird word, a little bit Returnal vibes as far as strange words.
Yeah, that's the exact vibe I got, was Returnal or like a Bravely Default, and it's just like, all right, you can just do whatever you want with words, I guess.
It's fine. It's back on their awesome naming conventions. I'm here for it.
So it is has the protagonist Frey Holland facing off against dragons and other colossal beasts, which I mean basically is generic description because the trailer they showed was like a minute of in-game footage. Although the movement looks freaking amazing. The way that she traverses through the environment looks super fun. So
that's what they showed as the teaser way back in the day, right? It was a lot of running and jumping.
It was
across these platforms.
It was so they showed a little bit more of that, so it was probably about another 15-20 seconds, similar to when they first announced it, but just it looks really fun to move around that world. So
did it say what style of game? Is it a RPG? Is it action?
It showed her do an attack or two, so I think it's gonna be an action game. I'm sure there will be some RPG elements.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get much of a vibe off of what is it, an open world game? Is it I don't really know, but it looked really fantasy.
I think it's gonna be definitely somewhat open, maybe not fully open world, but kind of large environments interconnected sort of thing. But that's the kind of vibe that I got. That launches in 2022, so for PlayStation 5, it's a console exclusive.
Yeah.
Sony and Square Enix still chummy, which is cool. Good for them.
Yeah. So those were the two biggest things, and then just Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. So they're bundling all three of those games together as a trilogy edition. And then Marvel's.
What systems is that coming out on?
That is going to be.
Does it say here? The new systems, or is it just?
I don't know. It doesn't actually say here.
Okay.
It does not say. They might not have actually said during the announcement.
I would love to see those, and with some refinements on the brand new consoles. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I never played the third one. I liked the first one, and the second one was good, but it kind of felt more of the same, maybe just a bit more refined. But I didn't play the third Tomb Raider, so
good.
Yeah, the third one's good.
Yeah, it's good. None of them. The first one was so memorable to me because it's a franchise that I kind of knew and had dabbled in. I wasn't a mega fan, but I liked it. I tried all the games, and I think the only one I had finished before was Underworld. That was one of them, right?
Yeah. That was
I liked
one of those too.
I liked that one, but I never really had become a mega fan of the series. But then when I played that reboot, I was just like, whoa, this is basically like Uncharted starring a girl, and it's a brand new story.
That's open really, world on an island.
Well, exactly, and all the Japanese lore and stuff like that.
Or at least open area.
Open areas.
It wasn't overwhelmingly huge of a place to explore, and I liked that. I didn't mind that. Then the second one opened it up a lot more, which was fine. Still open area, but much bigger areas, and it was good. It was still really good, and I felt the same way about the third one. Awesome set pieces, interesting story, decent performances. Nothing really to complain about, but also nothing that when the game was over. I don't think I could go back and give you a recap of the story at this moment. If you were to tell me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But
I just know how it ends. That's all I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it wasn't a singular distinctive thing that stuck out.
Well, there were some things in the first one that did stick out. It's, she kills someone for the first time. All these moments that are just so jarring. It's like, whoa, that was gritty and rough, and you feel what she's feeling. Like she just killed a human being for the first time. By the other games, she's just like kill.
Well, that's
so
what's a
many people.
bummer, because I remember that first trailer they showed for the second game was supposed to, it like almost looked like it was going to have a really like emphasis on the psychological part and everything that she went through and experienced. And then the game just came out, and all the trailers after that, it's like, nah, she's just going around just messing dudes up.
I thought it was gonna keep on flashing back to her like in counseling or like therapy, and like it never did that. So.
No, it was just that one trailer, and then
nothing
even kind of emphasized that. And then the other major thing, like Tim just said a second ago, Black Panther. So the Marvel Avenger Black Panther. They don't give a date, so it'll be just later this year.
I think they said summer, but I could be wrong. Or I remember reading summer somewhere.
But they had said a while back that they definitely wanted to do Black Panther. I did remember that, so I wasn't surprised by that. But yeah, it shows him in the trailer. He looks cool. So, and that will be a whole new area. So that's fun.
I wonder if these types of games that are intended to be, they're playing the long game. Like Destiny and those kind of games, where they're trying to trickle out content and update it with
games as a service.
Yeah, and I think Marvel's Avengers is sort of in that category.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
100%.
I just wonder if they've got data around like here's the right cadence to keep people engaged. Like you're gonna have every time you put out new content, you'll have a wave of folks, and then there'll be a sharp drop off, but don't go longer than X number of months before your next content.
It's got to be down to a science at this point.
It's got to be, right?
I think we're so in the weeds with Destiny and Destiny 2 and stuff like that that data's out there, and I think we have that down to a science now.
The thing with Destiny though is like people will go back and people say that game's fun to play. Like it feels good. It's fun to play.
It's fun to shoot things.
I don't know. I don't think people say that about this Avengers game.
I would say it is. It's fun, but I don't know.
But I mean, you played better action.
I don't know if you're laying in bed going, "Oh, I gotta get my hands on Avengers,"
Right.
Like
you're not considering buying a gaming PC just to play it.
Yeah,
that
right.
I mean, like Insomniac Spider-Man is way more fun to play, right?
Oh, exactly.
Or like,
I did stay up at night going, I gotta get back in that game.
Or not a direct comparison, but it's like because they try to go for like an action game with kind of RPG elements, but like even like a Devil May Cry, like just that game is just way more fun to play.
It's a way perfect action game.
If they kind of almost went that route, like purely just full action. That probably would have been more fun.
I don't know. That's an unfair comparison. In Devil May Cry 5, you get to use a motorcycle as a weapon.
Split it in half.
I mean, that's just quirky, Tim.
That's just quirky. So cool.
But I'm saying, as far as the fluidity,
when they introduced it as a legit weapon, I think I said out loud, "What?"
Yeah, that same. Yeah.
But I meant as far as like
these games.
Cool.
I meant as far as like the moment-to-moment gameplay in Avengers just feels the same, whereas like. Not so much in like a Devil May Cry. I mean like kind of more variety,
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you swap between characters in Avengers?
You can. I think stopping you, but not middle of combat. No, like it's like at the top of the mission.
Right?
You have to pick when you start. Exactly. Yeah, it's not like Lego Star Wars games where you can switch around as you go. Right.
I think that's a missed opportunity. They kind of because like with Final Fantasy VII, it's so much fun swapping it between Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud just on the fly. Like
I think they're so dead set on it being like a co-op online game that they're like, no, get friends if you want other,
That's fine, yeah. But if you're playing by yourself, they absolutely
you should be able to. I agree with that. You have the other characters with you on those missions. You should just be able to jump to them. I'd be all about that.
Exactly. So I don't know.
All right. Well, so I think some folks were underwhelmed by that. Folks like me who totally forgot it was even happening until I saw the announcements after it. I was like, oh yeah, that.
Oh yeah.
So I
get that they're gonna do another one like later.
They said in the summer or during like kind of around when E3 would be. So. But we'll see. Hopefully, Final Fantasy 16 information, Tim. I'm keeping my fingers.
I was like, why wasn't that there? And I go,
I think it'll get its own.
Yeah, that's its own thing. Yeah, you can't package that into something else.
High in the sky, because Kyle, I don't know if you on the previous episode. I think 16 is coming out this year. I'm actually legitimately like I believe it. So I think they're gonna like really wait until they're like, no, we know this is like about to be done, and they're gonna do a Fallout 4 and just announce
It'll be out October.
3-4 months, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we hear about it in the summer, and then October, November, we're playing that bad boy.
Believe it, Tim. Believe it.
I'm there with you because they've been working on it since 15, and they're using the same engine. I mean, it's not gonna break my heart if it doesn't, you know. But
Yeah,
I would love it,
Dan
but
on
guys,
this one.
break my
that's
heart.
not
I
gonna
think the
happen.
writing's on the wall. I think it is. I think if you listen to some of the interviews and they're like, we're further along than you think we
Well,
are, and I know that means nothing coming from Square, but like,
it's from the team, or I don't know if like they just took a chunk of the team that does 14 and kind of mixed it with some other
I
the
fully
production
believe
areas.
that they are in like full production mode on this. I don't think they're holding back any team members that need to be on. I feel like they've got a full team working on it. I would still be very pleasantly surprised if it arrives in 2021. I would love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just
history is on the side of Tim, to be honest. With Square
well,
Enix.
I mean,
it is. So.
But so when Yoshida took over Final Fantasy 14, because originally it was a disaster, and then he literally had to like reboot it from the ground up.
Yeah.
Like that game has just been they run it like a tight ship. Like Yoshida doesn't mess around, and he's the one in charge of the development of this game. So that's also why I really do feel confident that the game is coming out this year. I'm just not sure how devastating COVID has been for that team. That's the only thing.
I
that's
love
the big
your
one.
optimism. All right, I love it.
I got it, Tim. I gotta be.
Stick with it. Kyle, anything this week that jumped out at you in terms of headlines, or even if it's not gaming related, any kind of big things?
I got a gaming related one. I just want to pump up an old game that's being re-released here in May 25th. Shimagami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD.
Oh.
Everyone needs to play it. It is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. Dante from Devil May Cry is in it, so it's thematic to what we were just talking about.
Wait, he's actually in it?
He's in the game.
Yeah.
He's a party member that you recruit on your team.
Yeah.
And you and him go kill demons together.
Wait,
So
Capcom didn't make these, did they?
No. They made a very special deal to get Dante in this game.
Well, Dante
I think
was
the creator was a huge fan, right, of like the series. I think that's what there was a relationship there previously or something.
All I know is it's like aesthetically, it's Dante from Devil May Cry 2. Right?
Yeah.
Which is like super serious Dante.
Yeah, so it's not fun Dante.
Not the
it's
fun,
not
smarmy
fun
Dante from Devil May Cry 5, who's splitting his motorcycle in half and talking trash to monsters.
Yeah. You know, it's the Dante we all hate with the short hair and it's Ninja Theories Dante.
It sounds like
that game, but
it sounds like Tim's just jealous of Dante's suave nature and just his abilities.
I'm very jealous. I want a motorcycle that I can split in half and hit my enemies with. I have a lot of enemies. What else you got, Kyle?
This remastered is coming out on PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC, Steam, all that stuff. So if y'all have never played this game before, if you like Persona or anything like that, 'cause it's the same demons that they use, not a Persona game. There's no kissing teenagers or going on field trips or anything like that. You are murdering demons all game, and it is a dark, awful, foreboding, apocalyptic story, and it's sick.
Isn't the Persona series a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series?
So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like they're not considered the same thing over in Japan, from what I understand. But here they're kind of packaged together to kind of like.
I thought one spun off the other, but I couldn't remember.
Shin Megami, is like they're sort of separate, right? Thematically.
And then there's Digital Devil Saga, which is its own, and they all use the same.
Too,
they all use the same demon, so the same name, same everything.
Almost Final Fantasy like where they're connected but not connected.
Thematically they couldn't be more different though. Like again, one's about teenagers, one's about the apocalypse, and the other's about detective demons. I don't know.
Yeah, murder mystery.
Great, check it out. The Nocturne is an amazing game. It totally got overlooked on the PS2. Very rare game on the PS2. If you have a copy of it, it's worth a lot of money. Save it, sell it. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
You do it quick because it's probably, I mean, maybe
I know it's
still
about to
gonna
be worth
up there,
nothing.
but it's probably going to decline at least a little bit.
It'll probably go down. Yeah. Highly recommend this game. Really excited that it's coming out this year. And then we're getting Shimagami Tensei 5 at some point this year on the Switch as well. So
that's right. I remember they announced that last year, right?
Yep.
Did they show gameplay on the? Because they recently re-showed something, but I couldn't remember. They didn't show game. Yeah. I know there's been a second trailer.
No, we haven't seen gameplay of it.
I think it was just 2 cinematic trailers that we saw.
Okay. So we don't know what that actually looks like.
Still
we don't know anything. We don't know anything about that. Like I know 4 was like almost kind of like samurai, like Neo Samurai type of story. Yeah. I don't know what this one's gonna be about. I love this series. So I'm a huge fan of Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll throw out 2 pieces of Viking news before we circle back around to the other 2 guys. If you've got other stuff, the first one is Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to have its Wrath of the Druids DLC drop on April 29th. So that's going to take place in Ireland. So it's kind of a new area to go explore, and I'm sure new storylines, and hopefully they'll continue that modern day storyline that left Daniel so sad and unsatisfied.
Yep, just completely unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Just like a lady,
Yep.
who
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like,
Derek goes on a lady that Derek goes on a date with, just completely unsatisfied.
Oh God.
That's not what you look like in your picture. So that's happening April 29th. I'm gonna play this, of course. Like, I loved Valhalla. It's one of my favorites of last year. We already talked about it a lot. But the DLC that I'm really excited about is the Siege of Paris, which maybe I'm overhyping in my head and won't actually end up being all that great.
That's the one
But
I'm really excited for.
I'm real excited for that because I think that's
historically one of the coolest sieges ever to happen. So,
yeah. And I'm hoping they put you in some, like, I can already kind of envision, based on what the base game is, how they're going to have you do that. But I'm hoping they add a bunch of new wrinkles to what sieges are like.
Yeah, same.
To that one.
I think the only way that I would maybe consider this game being acceptable is if in that DLC you can launch Eivor off of the catapult. I'm on board
with that.
I want Eivor to be in the catapult launched over the castle wall.
Is it going to be like a Robin Hood thing where he lands like in a thing of hay, that's like strategically placed? Okay, cool.
Dude, Prince of Thieves.
Yes, Kevin Costner.
Dude, that's so funny you brought that up. I just started rewatching. It's been years since I rewatched Dances with Wolves. I just started that last night.
Yes. Yeah.
That is very random, Tim.
That is very
random. Really random. And guys, that movie, at least the cinematography and music, I was like, this holds up incredibly.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful movie. A little white savior, but it's a good movie. Yeah.
Very white savior. And Kevin Costner is not the most dynamic actor.
No, he never has been.
But like when he's reading,
come on.
When he's reading, like a lot of the movie is him reading diary or journal entries, kind of narrating what's happening, and it sounds like whenever they recorded them, he was pretty annoyed. Like that's what it sounds like. He's just kind of like,
sure.
So
it's
this
like,
is my
Harrison
post,
Harrison Ford doing the narration for Blade Runner. He like doesn't even know why he's there.
Yeah. Someone else do this. Anyway. So that's one piece of Viking news. The other piece is Valheim related. Just there's not much, but the devs did put out a kind of an updated message for folks, letting them know that we feel like we're getting close to nailing, squashing a lot of the pressing bugs that we have to address. There's still going to be things they're fixing, but they're saying they feel like they are able to shift a lot of their focus back to getting that first major Hearth and Home update going. And they teased out a picture of a raven, but it looks like a decorative raven. If you've played the game at all, eventually you unlock a decorative dragon that you can use. It's just like a dragon head that you can build out of fine wood, and you can kind of use that to decorate, your house or whatever, or a gate or something. Well, it looks like they've got one with the raven. So it looks like they're going to include other, I don't know if it's clans or what it is, but there's a raven symbol that looks like it's made out of wood.
That's cool.
Okay.
I'm on board. They didn't give any timeline or anything. I mean, they showed a picture of the team on a Zoom call, kind of like, here's our team.
There's like 6 of them?
There's 6.
Yeah, I think there's 6 dudes on that team, yeah.
Actually, 5 dudes and 1 lady, Kyle. So.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. I'm so sorry, lady. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Man, what a sausage fest of a developer, huh?
Yeah, right.
So that's pretty cool. I'm glad they're doing that. Dan, any other news from this week that you want to throw out there?
No, I mean, they can take their time. And I mean, like I said last time, I haven't even experienced a single bug, really. So that game runs so smooth, dude. Like,
nothing notable outside of some performance hiccups here and there. That's it.
For a team that has 6 people on it, like these bigger companies should be embarrassed.
I thought that too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, this is like the biggest game, and it seems really in depth, and like it's taken the world by storm, and in kind of the way that like Among Us has. But I have way more respect for this game because this game's just more interesting.
What's different about this is that it's completely soloable. Like, you can get lost in this world as a single player.
Oh, sure.
And never play with anyone else, and it works.
I've watched hours of footage of people just building houses and like building like gigantic warships, like Navy warships and stuff like that. Like,
I saw that.
It's super cool. Like I'm super impressed by this game.
And
whereas like
super well.
Like, I get why Among Us got really big, and I only bring that up because it's like a team of like 6 people too, and it's like bigger than most games that AAA studios are putting out right now. But like Among Us kind of it's welcome for me, whereas this game kind of seems like an endless thing to me. Like, you could keep on adding updates to this and keep on making it deeper, like a Minecraft situation where there's going to be more bosses added, I'm sure.
The fact that I've only now beaten 3 out of the currently 5 bosses, and I've played this game for like 120 hours total. A lot of that time, by the way, A lot of that time, by the way, is just spent building or just exploring. Like I just want to map. I want to uncover my map, so I'll take my boat and I'll literally sail around a coast.
I'm all
Like I'll
about
kind
that.
of and I'll just
Just
kind of like unlock the map and then decide, okay, I want to kind of now I want to start cutting through the middle of this island to really
Yep.
uncover what's in here. And
yeah.
so like I spent a ton of time doing that, and I honestly have made it through a almost an entire audiobook and a ton of podcasts just listening to that while I'm
Best way to do it.
wandering, and I love it. So.
Yeah.
But I know that's not for everybody, Derek. So, Dan,
Hey, we almost had him.
did you want to talk at all about the Puss in Boots movie sequel? I figured you would want to bring that one up. No, you're not.
I just it's on my queue, Tim. I just haven't
I bet.
I haven't watched it yet. So.
I bet.
Are they still making those? Like,
They just announced. I just saw this on the headlines list here. There's a new Puss in Boots movie coming out.
Is it still Antonio Banderas?
Well,
doing
if
this?
it's not, then what's the point? Let's be honest.
Yeah, right.
Not watching unless Antonio Banderas is.
Exactly. Kyle, anything else jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, just really quick, if y'all haven't seen the trailer for Necromunda Hired Gun, it's a new Warhammer first-person shooter game. Looks awesome. I love Warhammer games.
I saw the still that someone put up from it. I guess it was leaked before they put the trailer.
Yes, yeah. This is coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, X and S, Xbox One, PC. June 1st, gonna be a summer game. I mean, it looks great. It looks like a lot of fun.
Cool.
I mean, it's not going to be some award-winning game, but if you're looking for kind of a Warhammer first-person
But that
shooter,
Warhammer 40K lore is intriguing. That's fun.
Warhammer
Yeah.
40K is like one of the coolest universes ever created.
It's so interesting because it's like there's so many different games and they're like literally completely different genres.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Turn-based
they're all
strategy,
connected?
real-time
This one-
strategy, action games. They've got everything.
Yeah. Well, and we've had a lot of Space Marine games lately. This game, you're not playing in a giant hunking suit of armor. Like you're playing a different, race of people. Like it's cool. Like you're gonna have a little dog buddy in this game. So it's
They
gonna be a
still
good
have
time.
one of my favorite real-time strategy war games that I've ever played. I still have jumped back in and played it every once in a while. The Dawn of War.
Yeah,
and
Dawn of
Dawn of
War is
War too.
awesome. Yeah, I don't
Both
even like
those
those
games.
games and like those style of games. I'm just bad at them, but I played that game.
Those
a
games
lot.
are great. It's really cool. Like
Yep.
capture the checkpoint type of formula, and it just works really, really well. But anyway,
Oh, there was one other thing, and I had closed the tab.
Okay.
So that Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which we had mentioned, I don't know if it was the last episode, which is the mobile game. That's basically looks like the old traditional Final Fantasy VII, but like a bit more updated, but like the kind of chibi characters.
Mhm.
And they're essentially retelling like all of the Final Fantasy games, even Advent Children movie. So that is going to be in an episodic format, and each episode will be free to play. So they did say that it will be free to play.
How are they
Okay.
gonna make money?
So there's going to be some gotcha elements, unfortunately, Kyle. Was it down here? I think basically for like equipment and things like that is going to be how they try to get you. So like maybe if you want like Cloud's Ultima weapon, then you'll have like
There's
if you
no way
wanted
to
that.
unlock it in game. You'll have to like buy it.
Well, no, I'm
They-
sure you could, but you'll unlock that further down the line when you're supposed to.
okay, so you
like,
can get
kinda
ahead.
as an
Gotcha.
example. So
you know,
yeah,
what they should do is they should make it during a boss fight, and it's like your attack button is locked until you pay $2 to
Yeah, that's
unlock it.
you gotta just keep hitting defend until you.
You
pay
used
money.
up all your attack gems. Buy 5 more
Yeah.
gems now.
Or wait for your 2-hour cooldown and come back. you
Yeah,
know?
I hate
What?
mobile gaming so much.
Yeah, man, that's what it would be, 100%. Those games, sorry, this is not about Final Fantasy, but like
Yeah.
all those free-to-play games, sometimes even if the premise seems kind of charming and fun, I just want to try it, they start to introduce all these different currencies.
Yep.
You got to collect this gold and these gems and these diamonds, and then you have to collect this fairy dust, and then make sure you get these stars, and it's just like,
They all buy
Nope.
certain particular things. Yeah,
they
no.
do, and some of them you can earn automatically, and they're actually kind of garbage currency. You don't really need it for much. And then the other stuff, the good stuff, it gives you like 300 to start with. You're like, sweet.
yeah.
And then
Yeah, but
go
you
on.
need 3,000 to buy anything, and you get 5 a day. So
Just a shirt, just a
Get
shirt.
5 a day.
Yeah.
And each one is worth a real life $100 bill.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
enjoy. Oh man.
It's disgusting.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why they call it that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably other news and stuff that we skipped over. That was some of the recent stuff. I mean, one of the big ones is, of course, it doesn't sound like Nintendo's changing their plans to remove the kind of Mario collection they put out last fall. At the end of
Yeah.
last. Sounds like they're still planning on removing that. At least.
Why?
that
What
fit-
is this model that they're doing?
They're
I don't
doing
know,
what
like,
Disney does, putting things back in the vault.
Like,
End of all-
they're force creating like a
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so weird to me.
It's weird because we're almost at the end of March, and I feel like they would have said it by now. Because I could have sworn they were going to say, all right, now you can buy these games individually on the eShop for these prices, like 20 each or whatever they want to do for each of those games. And they still could do that, right? They still could surprise us with that next week. But yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird that they're taking
It's
it.
Nintendo being Nintendo, you know.
Yeah, well, you know.
It's not like these games aren't selling. Like, they're selling like crazy.
Well, and you're never gonna like lower the price on them, so why not just keep them on the market for $50 or $60 and people will buy them? It's just weird to me. Okay,
I don't know.
I guess that you can bring it out on a rainy day and be like, hey, it's back, you know. But I don't know.
That's what they do.
Yeah. All right, I think that's everything. For some reason I had written down, I had a different note somewhere to talk about the Eiyuden Chronicles, but we did talk about that last week. How 505 Games is publishing that now, so I am excited for that though. Give me more Suikoden. So, and if it's not Suikoden, call it something else and make it just like Suikoden. I'm good.
Well, they're doing that for you, Tim.
Yeah.
So.
They heard my request. So
yes.
All right, well, let's close things out with stuff we're playing and or watching. And if you're listening to this and you don't want to hear any spoilers on the following, and I would suggest you can probably end the episode right now. So if you don't want to hear anything about WandaVision, and we will talk at least like up through middle, if not late season plot lines. It won't spoil the very end of it maybe, but like we'll still talk about a lot of it. Also talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales. I want to talk about that at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil any of the major twists if I can help it, but I want to talk about it. And so if you don't want to hear either of those things, thanks for listening.
Get the out.
Yeah.
And also we're going to talk about episode 1 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, although I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
but it'd still be good to get your impressions. Actually, let's start with that, Kyle, so we can give folks who are scrambling to turn this off a chance.
People who were just like confused and just hated WandaVision, you know, because it was just like there was I had to think too much. I just want my pew pew Marvel stuff going on, and I don't mean this in a bad way. This is what you want, you know. And I'll just say this without spoiling anything. It opens up on one of the greatest aerial combat scenes in anything ever. It's so good. It's so well shot. They really hired like a bunch of people in wingsuits with like GoPros on them, and like they really shot a lot of this stuff, and it's as organic as possible while adding in a lot of like CG and stuff like that.
It's crazy. These shows are getting like movie level budgets.
They are. They're totally movie level budgets. You know, and I mean it looks good. I will say again, no spoilers. The show goes into a lot of like, where are they now 6 months after the blip, you know? And like I like that. I think a lot of the slower moments where like you're watching superheroes go through like everyday life stuff is interesting because they supplement enough action to like give you that nice balance and everything like that. The creator said, sorry, YouTube theorist, there's no theories or mysteries or anything to kind of unwrap. Like this TV show is really a straightforward character, you know, kind of thing. So like don't expect like some major twist like
WandaVision.
Cap's back and he's evil, or you know, like there's not going to be any like weird like twists or anything like that. It's just going to be like a really like high octane, you know, action buddy.
I want them to bring back Chris Evans as Cap, and I want him to be wearing a MAGA hat with a Nazi swastika on it.
Dude, I'm
in.
Actually, I want him to show up as the Human Torch.
Yeah.
And everyone just be super
no one
confused.
says anything about it.
Yeah. And everyone's like, "What's going on?" He's like,
"They did that in WandaVision, kind of too, with another character."
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
they did.
All right, so I am gonna watch this, but I'll probably do what I did with WandaVision, where I waited till about halfway through the season, and then I started to catch up, and that gave me like an episode to watch every 2-3 days, essentially, to the end of the season. So I liked that cadence. That was fine. I'm with you, Dan. Like I like the ability to just watch like 3 or 4 in a row if I'm really hooked on it. I do like that, but I also don't want to wait too long because I know the major stuff's gonna start getting spoiled if I wait too long.
It's hard in this day and age.
I just stay off the internet. That's what I did. I slipped up once with WandaVision. I did see something. I was like, damn it! I did not want to see that, but I mean, it turned out not being super important. We all actually had the rug pulled out from underneath us, as Tim mentioned a second ago. But
I think my Facebook was mostly deactivated throughout the entirety of Mandalorian, so I understand. Like I'm like, for me, no one's gonna ruin anything for me. Like, you gotta take it into your own. You have to take it into your own hands. You can't.
No one's gonna ruin stuff except for Gina Carano. She's the worst. Yeah. Okay,
the worst.
Fire her. I'm kidding. Okay, Spider-Man. Actually, no. Before we do that, let's talk about WandaVision. We're already on Marvel. Let's
Okay.
do WandaVision first.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, Spider-Man is Marvel, but
you're right. But while we're
Yeah.
on Marvel, TV shows.
TV shows, yes.
Yeah. So we'll get to Miles Morales in a second. Plus, I don't know, Kyle, have you played Miles Morales yet?
I have beaten and played Miles Morales.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So we can talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Would love to.
So WandaVision, of course,
Mm.
was. I do want to get your thoughts, Dan, since you binged it. I did end up watching it essentially as it released for the second half of the season, really like the last 3 weeks or so. So I was on the edge of my seat for, 6 days in between each release. And these episodes are not super lengthy. So,
some of the later ones were.
They're a little longer, but even then they're barely 30 minutes because the credit sequences are like 8 minutes long.
They're 7.5 or 8 minutes long, yeah.
So it looks like it's a longer episode than it is. But anyway, when I first started this show, I know some people really didn't like it. We were actually just talking to some friends recently. The husband and wife were watching it together, and they're both kind of like, yeah, we're about halfway through, and they're starting to introduce some interesting stuff. But boy, those first few episodes, I just really didn't like. And I kind of stayed quiet, but in my head, I'm going like, I really did. I kind of liked the whole bewitched, silly, corny humor. Like, I actually chuckled a few times, and I had a thought at one point. I was like, I would watch a show if this is all it is. I think I would watch this.
I would too.
Because I thought it was like clever, silly, and charming. It had all that old bewitched I Love Lucy tropes that I love. I don't know. I like
Dick Van Dyke, yeah.
Yeah.
What worked really well was the combination of those things, if you're into that, mixed with sort of the mystery of like what's going on with Wanda.
Why there's a darkness underneath it all, right?
Yes.
There is,
and like
and every episode, once or twice, you would feel the weird, and you're like, wait a minute.
Like in on the first episode when the dude's choking, it's like, all right, he's choking, and then like Kitty from that '70s show is like, stop it.
She gets stuck in a loop.
But then she gets more emotional as she said, "Stop it."
That was weird.
Like, yeah, and it
had a little bit of a horror element to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, because again, they're all under this sort of mind control thing during the events of the show because of what Wanda's essentially has created this alternate reality bubble or hex. And everybody's sort of like. It's like an outer body experience, right? Like they can see what's going on, but they can't do anything about it. They're just kind of like they're floating above themselves, and it's like I can't do anything. She's controlling me. She's preventing me from doing anything, because of the trauma that she experienced because of the events of the later Avengers movies.
Now, did you guys, when you started this show, and maybe you're much better about this than I am, because the events of Infinity War and Endgame. They're so huge and so much stuff happens to so many characters. The storyline that didn't really resonate with me, or at least stick with me, was the Wanda and Vision story.
I wanted to specifically mention this because I've seen pretty much most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe just once. There's not many movies that I've watched more than once. Okay. So, but what I do remember from Wanda and Vision was they didn't do the best job in the beginning, from what I remember, of making their relationship seem like real like legitimate, right? Like
when I knew they were in a relationship, I felt like, oh, they haven't showed us a lot. Like they're serious about it.
It was very it was very off screen, and it's very like, this is for the comic book fans. Like you guys know that they're in love, like they're just in love now, Like
they
didn't really do a lot of work to show it until this show.
In the show on episode, it was episode 8, where was it Agnes or Agna? I forget. Is it Agna Harkness?
It's Agatha Harkness.
They do like a Christmas Carol. Let's go visit the past. Couple of scenes.
Yeah. When they show the flashback, when they show the flashback of Wanda sitting on the bed after the events of Age of Ultron. With Vision, like literally that one moment there,
it's right after her brother
sold
died.
The whole thing to me. In fact, there were so many tender moments between them two in this that like I don't need any more proof that they're like in love to me.
But they didn't do that throughout the movies, and that was the problem. And that's why people were like, whatever. I don't even believe this relationship really. It's not like, and then in Infinity War when that happens, it's like. It's impactful because visually it's impactful, but some people I don't think emotionally it hit them because they were like, I'm not feeling this. Like I don't feel connected, and
it kind of sucked. You neutered both of their characters, So like he spent the whole movie getting stabbed by the same guy in the same staff, and she spent
Right.
the whole movie being really sad about that, and it's like it's more frustrating than it was cool,
But again, this movie...
visually it was cool when she had to like destroy the Mind Stone with her power or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. But this movie makes that... this show literally made that more impactful.
It did.
This is a show that happens afterwards, and that had already happened, and this actually justified that, and kind of like, it made me emotional. I was like, oh, yeah, like I these two, like, they're connecting, and it like actually works for me. Like I get it. Like it's clicking.
The moment that got me, and the timing was crazy, because Bobby Pauls, the Nintendo guru, had just passed away.
Oh yeah,
you guys heard about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And right around that same time was this episode where he sits down in his, in his robotic AI way, trying to help her process what happened to her brother. And he, of course, has that line that everyone's talking about. I love the quote where he says, "What is grief if not love persevering?" Which was just like, boom! It was like an uppercut.
Yeah.
Just
all the feels.
That one got me. Of course, I was already... I didn't know Bobby super well, but anytime you hear about someone passing, you start to get real, introspective and start to just think about people and life and how, everything is more important than we give it credit for, and all this. You start to have all of these, really over-emotional thoughts. And so when that hit, I was just like, okay, old man's about to start crying. Oh boy,
Derek isn't here, Tim. So if you want to cry or talk about crying, it's fine. It's okay.
Oh, is that on the table? Can we do that this episode?
Yeah, we can start crying.
Because I'll be honest. I want
to add on to what you were saying about the emotional connection between these two, because I didn't think Infinity War or Endgame did a bad job of their relationship until I saw this show. So this is going to sound kind of weird. When I first saw those two movies, which is kind of like one big movie experience, right? Those two movies together. Their characters, to me at least, were pretty inconsequential. Like they were part of the Avengers. They were good guys, but I kind of wanted to get back to the characters I cared about. I cared about all the central main characters. What's happening with them? I want to see Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. These are the people that I care about. And so when it would show these two, I was like, yeah, they're kind of cool. Like, he seems a little bit like a hippie robot. Like, he doesn't do a lot of fighting. He just kind of talks real softly all the time. So,
well, he just like knows everything because he's just like this AI that was put into like a freaking
the internet.
But the only thing that made him interesting to me in those movies was, he's a target of Thanos. Got it, because he's got the stone in his head.
Yeah.
Cool. So that made him interesting. Now he's a target, but he seemed, again, that to me kind of weakened like the power that he could have. And there's a number of ways that they explain that in the movies that I kind of didn't really pay attention to. So now that I'm watching through the show, now I'm starting to care about both these characters a lot more.
Oh yeah,
she might be my favorite character now. After all that, like where the show leaves off with her and everything, I'm like, this is gonna open up a lot of doors,
It makes you really appreciate the space that you get in a TV show to let a character breathe and really be and let the actors really do something with it. In a movie, even a super long movie like Infinity War and Endgame are both very long movies. Well, even then, everything is kind of rushed comparatively, and so
I got a lot of ground to cover.
They can't get you to connect like this with everybody. So I love this.
I think they shot themselves in the foot a bit. Maybe it was a mixture of it being Joss Whedon and just the movie itself maybe not being written as well as like the later Marvel movies. But when they introduced Vision in Age of Ultron, it was towards the end. So we didn't really get a lot of time with him.
It's a big third act reveal.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people are. I think that Avengers movie is the most divisive one out of all of them. I think
I would probably out of the Avenger movies. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I would say because the first one is just special because it's like this. That's the first time that has ever happened. So it's like, this is insane. Yeah, he did. And then the second one, I guess maybe it just wasn't as well written as it could have been.
I like two fine. I just think that
I didn't hate it. But...
I think studio tried to like ham fist in a lot of like weird side plots that never even ended up going anywhere really.
But like later on, so then when we're kind of seeing Wanda and Vision more kind of trying to be close with one another, it seemed more effective in the later movies because I think the writing just as the movies kept going, they got better at writing them and directing and so on and so forth. So.
Yeah.
But like just this show just amplifies that, just like you were saying, Tim. Like it just like this is definitely the best portrayal of those two characters out of everything that they've done up until now.
And it broke the Marvel formula. Like we finally, all the people who were like, I just want something new. You just got it. Like that was the newest, most fresh thing they've done so far. So
when did
Scorsese should watch this so he can change his mind on comic book based stuff.
Yeah.
When did Infinity War come out? Or I'm sorry, Endgame. I mean, was that 2019?
Is it 18 or 17? Okay, 18.
I think Endgame was 18.
19 was.
So that's the last time we've gotten anything Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Wait, I might be wrong. I think
they skipped all. I think 2019 was Endgame because the very first year we didn't get anything was 2020.
I don't know if Tim, you were just checking.
It was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So
2019.
So it's been at least a couple of years. And then here we are back in this universe. Like, I was just excited to be back in this universe and sort of because so technically
when did this launch? Just launched in January? No. What was it, January?
Yes, January.
Okay, so it was like exactly 18 months since we had an official Marvel movie because we had Spider-Man in July after Endgame.
Which technically, storyline wise, does take place a few months after Endgame.
It does because it's like the aftermath of that.
Yeah. And then this is like, obviously after that as well.
That movie, now that we're seeing it and now we're starting to see the start of Phase 4, that movie is a bit of that bridge between.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, WandaVision was like moments after Endgame because like after she heard that Vision was being taken by Sword, which I guess has been around forever. I guess we missed that, but they introduced it in 3 kind of like what's that guy's name? The bad guy in 3 was like. He says the acronym for Sword or whatever, but like it's for Sword.
Sam Rockwell's character?
No. In 3, Guy Pearce, is that who is the bad guy in 3?
In Iron Man 3?
Iron Man 3.
He says the full acronym of Sword, but it's so throwaway. But apparently they've been wheeling and dealing since the 90s,
Okay.
How did we not know that?
I don't
know. But
well,
that's okay.
It's because you're so fixated on
Sword and Shield, and no one said anything.
I think Nick Fury was in that. But it's just it was mostly an excellent show. I do wish there was a little bit more of like cool fun future stuff that's coming up. Like the whole Quicksilver thing was bullshit. All right,
that was bamboozled all of us. Oh my gosh! And the fact that the show creator goes, "Well, we didn't think you guys were gonna theorize that." It's where did you think we were gonna take that? Like you cliffhangered on that purposefully, so we all thought that. Like
absolutely, the camera was behind him. It was the hair. You're like, oh, it's gonna be what's his face?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, Aaron, and then no, instead it's the one from the freaking Fox cinematic universe, if you can even call it that.
The better Quicksilver, you mean?
Yeah.
Who had some amazing scenes in some mediocre movies.
And all we end up is with Ralph Boner. That's what we end up
which was
what does that mean? So it's like all this for a boner joke. Like I'm like, yes.
that was funny.
Which is funny.
It is
so
very funny,
when they first introduced him, my mind because they had already talked about how Wanda's going to be a major part of the next Doctor Strange and the multiverse movie. I was like, oh, here we go with the multi-universe thing. Like this is going to be crazy. This is where they might bring in the other Peter Parkers. Like that's where my mind was going right away. And then it turns out like
I can't believe Doctor Strange didn't show up to this. Like I thought for sure he was gonna like cameo in it because like he showed up whenever like Thor and Loki like came from like in Ragnarok they show up in New York and he immediately shows up. He's like, "What are you guys doing here? Like I felt your presence. You shouldn't be here." Well, while some chick is like destroying an entire town using magic, like you're asleep on the job somewhere,
Well, maybe and there's the reference to Sorcerer Supreme, which is strange. Doctor Strange. And there's that moment where Agna is mentioning how the whole myth and the legend of the Scarlet Witch, who's actually stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So perhaps she wasn't even aware, but somehow she was blocking him out. That's maybe what she was doing.
I buy
with
that.
the hex. She could have been blocking him out. He just wasn't even aware that was happening.
Yeah, I buy that.
But obviously they're saving all of that for the movie because that movie's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, just a whole bunch of cool.
Dude, Sam Raimi's gonna do that movie so good. He's gonna do that movie so good. We're all in for such a treat. I promise.
I know. I really hope so.
I promise. Yeah.
I really hope so.
So I feel like with this show, there's a lot we could dig into more, and I don't mean to just pull the plug on it because we could go on forever about the story. But there are a couple other elements that I did want to highlight real quick that outside of the storyline and the crazy twists and Catherine, is it Zahn or Han?
Han,
Is her last?
Catherine Han. Yeah.
She's great. She's been great in
What a
everything she's
treasure,
been
yeah.
in. I mean, she was
Parks
great
and
as Jen
Rec.
Barkley in Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
and she's
yeah,
great.
Yeah, she's
great
amazing
as
in that.
She's the great as a best friend in a rom-com. She makes a lot of rom-coms watchable because she oftentimes plays the best friend in those kind of roles. I've seen her like in 2 or 3, I feel like, in that kind of. So she's hilarious. She's fantastic. And I loved the twist they gave to her character and kind of the additional, this kind of witch lore they're now bringing into the Marvel Universe, which wasn't there before. It was just about them being experimented on with the power of one of the Infinity Stones. But now there's much more of there's a deeper level of kind of this total side.
That always seemed really ham-fisted in, where it's like, yeah, the Infinity Stone like touched her and she's got magic now. It's
I think
like,
it's
background here, I think, helped that a lot.
Well, I think
they made
and
it
was like,
without retconning it, they made it better. Like they actually created a cool origin
as
story.
a child, she already had something going on,
This
and the
just
stone
amplified
unlocked it, which was, I loved that. I thought that was.
But
cool.
they didn't.
Same here. I think it's
really.
great.
They couldn't really do that until Doctor Strange either, because that was really when they introduced magic into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You have to piecemeal this stuff out. It's a lot to. I mean, we're about to get vampires here soon with Blade, so it's like, like we kind of have to ease our way into that.
It's like, how do we not know about vampires?
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, everyone who's just like, I can't believe Mephisto's not here. I'm like, we're not ready for this devil to be in this unit. Like, we just learned about magic. Like,
the 2 kids.
Right. I think we're gonna get it soon. Like, Mephisto's gonna come at some point, but like, you have to piecemeal this stuff out because like it's gonna get more ridiculous the more things that we add.
I literally didn't. I barely knew anything about Scarlet Witch. Like, Scarlet Witch and Vision were 2 characters that I was not very familiar with. But like, not googling, but YouTubing like spoiler stuff. Like after I finished everything, and was it Mephisto or Mephistus?
Mephisto. Yeah.
The writer said that they didn't intend to put any
But in the comic, there's a correlation between this character, Mephisto, connected to Wanda at some point when she has kids in the comics. Which
those 2 kids are like the hands of Mephisto, like they're being puppeted by him. Yeah,
right. So, which I've heard goes some really wacky directions in the comics.
Yeah, it's all and House of M is the most famous one where she says no more mutants.
Well, that's what this is based off of, right?
Yeah, well, tangentially,
loosely.
But apparently the head writer wasn't. They weren't intending to necessarily hint that Mephisto's on the way, but they still could make that connection.
Oh, yeah, happening. I think he's coming. I mean, he's such a big bad guy that like, I think we're gonna get Nightmare in Doctor Strange 2, and he's directly tied to Mephisto, and because Nightmare is a very famous Doctor Strange bad guy, so it's like I think we're gonna get a lot of that stuff. But like again, we have to take baby steps there, guys, because if we introduce the devil, that means God exists, in the Marvel universe. That means vampire. If vampires exist, that means like vampire hunters. I don't know. It's just like we have to kind of take baby steps there.
If there's nothing X-Men that pops up in the next Doctor Strange movie, I'm burning everything to the ground.
You're not getting X-Men at all this phase.
No, I'm not even saying I need X-Men. I don't need like Wolverine to show up, but I need there to be like sort of like confirmation.
You need the word mutant to be said.
Yeah, I need them to say mutants or something.
Yeah.
Like, it just needs to happen. It's the perfect spot.
There's one element of the show that kept jumping out at me every week, whether it was during an episode or especially during the credits. This always jumped out at me was the music.
Yes.
And so I thought, like, who did this music? This is really, really good. This is like, it's not just taking from the Marvel theme, the main, Avengers theme, and twisting it. It was so unique. And I looked it up, and it makes sense to me who it was. It was that husband-wife duo who did the Frozen 1 and 2 songs. They did Coco.
Oh, get out of here. Wow, okay.
They're amazing songwriters, and they've done some, of course, Academy Award-winning stuff. And it's just really cool that they've been brought in to do this as well. They've done some stage stuff, of course, as well. But the thing that really launched them was Frozen. They followed it up with Coco and then Frozen 2, which all those are just unreal.
So they're just bouncing. I mean, Disney's basically like, hey, we know you're talented.
Disney's got some in-house people that are really good.
And it's like, the one that I loved, even though it's silly, I loved that it was Agatha All Along song.
Yeah, that was #1 on the Apple iTunes store.
That was them. I mean, as soon as I heard that, and I had already known who was in the music, I was like, of course they wrote this song. This song is perfect.
That was based off. It sounded like, was it the Munsters, right? Is that what
I don't know. Yeah, I probably
it had that vibe, but I don't think it was the same tune. But yeah, it did have that vibe.
Sure, but it was that vibe. Yeah.
Speaking of two quick points that I won't dwell on. The whole show is a love letter to old TV. Love that. So every episode was just like
What
They
was your
really-
favorite episode type that they mimicked? What did you
Oh
like
my
the most?
gosh, I think I like the Brady Bunch episode the most.
Okay.
'Cause that's what I grew up on, and so
Okay.
like just seeing the house that was exactly the same, and the wardrobes, and the way that it's shot, the cameras they use, the lighting, everything is like replicated to create that world or whatever. And the other thing is like watching the sword agents watch the show with us and theorize
Yeah.
with us. And there's a
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
where
yeah.
they have a whiteboard, which is
Yep,
literally
yep.
every question that every viewer is watching, and I go, this
Yep.
is the most meta show I've watched in a long time. Like it's
Oh yeah, that reminds me. We didn't even talk about two of my favorite characters who didn't get a lot of screen time, which was played by Kat Dennings and then the guy
Yeah.
who played Agent. Shoot,
they
what's
need to
his name?
spin off.
Agent
They need
Wu or
yeah, they need to spin off into their own show. Like he
Oh,
needs
they're
to have
both
his
so
own.
good.
He needs to have his own X-Files show where he's going around like investigating, like weird, low-powered, like Squirrel Girl, who's never going to be in a movie. Like have him go like check that out, like and just just have him like that'd be so perfect. I think
He's
so
great.
hilarious.
He also has one of my favorite openings for The Office when he pretends to be
Yeah,
he's
Agent Jim.
Agent Jim.
So
Good on you for not seeing race.
yeah. And what was the other thing you were gonna say, Kyle?
No, those were the two things. Yeah, just the
okay,
love
got
letter to TV and just the show was watching the show while we
Yeah.
watched the show.
I think I
Malcolm in
like
the Middle one
I think I
was
like the
great.
Malcolm in the Middle too.
Yeah,
Dan, I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say it. Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle was good, and they pulled it off so perfectly.
Isn't
the
that the one
spiking
where they made a
camera.
joke about like, is it humorous because he got injured? Was that in WandaVision? That might have been something else. I feel like there was a line where they said, "Is that humorous because he got injured?" or something like that.
Yeah,
But-
no, because they're watching the thing fall on top of his head.
Yeah.
Walter White's head, and like
Yes.
Vision's like, is it funny because he got hurt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales real quick before we wrap things up. I was able to I just finished it 2 nights ago,
Nice.
and I can confirm that it is an amazing game.
Yeah.
It definitely though, it's like Spider-Man Lite. So if you played the full Spider-Man game from 2018, with remastered version or not, doesn't matter. They're both amazing. Both experiences are fantastic. That is a massive game that even if you just do the main storyline, I thought was pretty lengthy. It's a pretty meaty game.
It is.
There's a lot to do. I mean, a ton to do. And even some of the side stuff has a lot of story to it. This one reminded me a lot more of, I remember playing Mafia 2, and then when you get the DLC for Mafia 2, there's a storyline, yeah, but it's also, they open up the world and they kind of introduce different activity types and then let you decide if you want to go after those. Like they'll have a main mission that is that activity type, and then they'll say, hey, there's 15 more of these around the map, and they open them up for you and you can decide. That's what I felt like when I was playing this. I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing. Like I appreciated that it was a compact experience, but I felt like it was a main story, and the side missions were basically, we'll introduce this to you once real quick, and you can decide if that's an activity or an upgrade that you really care about. Otherwise, keep doing the main story. And again, this isn't necessarily a criticism of it, but it is something that I would say this is why I struggled to look at it as this, for me personally, it was totally worth $50 brand new. Like part of me is like, I wonder if I could have waited for a bit of a sale, because I flew through that game and I didn't 100% it. But
it was 2 sittings for me, and it was 78% completed. Like in 2 sittings.
I think I'm at 70-something percent too.
Yeah.
Something in that range. So
How about more of a Spider-Man 1.5 instead of Spider-Man Lite?
I think that because people who are just like, this is not an expansion. This is exactly what this is. It feels like to me. It is an expansion. Like it's just
really
like here's more story. It's a really good one, but it's not like Witcher 3 good, like where it's like 40 hours and infinite side missions.
Let me
and,
use that as an example. I'm glad you said that. The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine DLC was a completely new game. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it was
100%.
It was like almost the same amount of game. It was crazy.
This doesn't feel like that.
But the one before that, the Hearts of Stone, that's more in line with this because it's a shorter story. They introduce some new stuff, but it's really kind of the same map, and even the area that you are concentrated in is a smaller area.
It is. Yeah.
That to me is more comparable.
That's a good comparison.
If you're good with like anywhere from a 6, maybe 7 or 8 hour storyline, and then maybe you could pad it out 2-3 more hours of just exploring and finishing out some tasks. If you're good with that, then you're gonna love this thing. Just I would say the expectations, and my expectations, thankfully, were properly set. That this is not a full-fledged new Spider-Man sequel. So I enjoyed it from start to finish. Loved all the performances. It was great. I had some issues here and there with the story in terms of like, all right, that motivation seemed a little forced all of a sudden. I see why they made this character flip, when they discovered
things
the
happen
truth
quickly, right? Because I think we discussed that,
They happened quickly, but also like it didn't have to happen that quick. I feel like there was more they could have, but
like
all that being said, overall, I really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and I
Mhm,
love the guy who plays Miles. I forget his name, but I looked it up. I was like,
Yeah.
this kid's really good.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more Spider-Man in general. I love the way they used Peter Parker in the story as well as kind of
Yeah.
that mentor. And so I really, really liked it. And I won't go into too many spoilers, but I will say the stuff with the main antagonist in the
Mhm.
story, at times they nailed it. And it was like, wow, this is a cool balance
Especially
between,
at the end.
yeah, this is a cool balance between his real life relationships and his relationship as
Right.
Spider-Man. And I liked that. There were other times, especially when things flipped, when it's like, all right, things have been unveiled and there's no more secrets. And part of me got like, oh, I get the motivation that this character has, but then they seemed to kind of make peace with it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was like, no, you know what? I'm not happy with
I'm
it.
actually still mad about this.
And I'm
Yeah,
not
I
only
can
mad,
see
but
that,
now I want to
actually.
kill you. And it's like, all right. Like I didn't like that because I thought that they did a really um had a really nuanced approach to that character's reaction to learning this big thing. And I was just like, oh, that was interesting the way they handled that. This will be like, this might make the final showdown that much more interesting because now you have two characters who are both conflicted and believe in a cause. But they I thought, went down the route of, yeah, but we're going to make the villain a little more needlessly mean and angry than we need to. That's all. That was my biggest criticism. If I had played this in time for Game of the Year stuff, I would
Yeah.
have probably brought that up around story
I mean,
discussion.
yeah, that they get angry. If I'm trying to remember, because they get angry that they find out, with Miles, kind of like that, because obviously Miles has a secret identity.
Correct.
So, when they find out, it's like, oh, like I'm really mad at you. That is basically what it kind of boils down to, right?
Well,
That she was.
but that kind of resolves, and then they have to work. There's a situation they're both, and they have to work together. And
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
they meet up on the church, and they actually have a really touching
Okay,
like
I remember that. Yeah.
connection. And then, I
But
mean,
then other people show up, though.
I know the other people show up, but
Yeah.
she even then, it's explained. When they're in their predicament, she kind of acknowledges that she gets it, that he was also tricked in
Yeah.
that moment. It felt too much to me. We're actually watching Return of the King right now with the kids.
Oh,
It felt
okay.
a lot to me
Nice.
like when Gollum gets tricked and all of a sudden he's bad again, and it's like, oh man, if only he understood, but his brain
Right.
can't quite get it. That
Well,
felt like a Gollum moment to me, and I'm like, she understands.
I'm
this.
wondering if it's just a little bit of like they're young with like these exceptional abilities and powers and all this going on. So like, I don't know if that's me like reaching, but it's like, it's not like with Peter. Like in this game, Peter is kind of like in his prime. Like he's like what, in his mid-20s, late 20s.
Yeah, I think like
Like he's
mid-to-late,
he's been through things, right? So like he kind of gets situations which is whereas Miles is what, like 19.
I think he's finishing up high school. I think they're still.
Yeah. So
yeah.
and the other character is also around
I
that
think
age.
they're both 17.
Yeah.
Is
So
the-
like I think it's just really maybe that's just dumb just to boil it down to
No,
that.
listen,
But I
I
think
get
they're
it,
just
but you
kids.
can't. I don't think you can use that as an excuse when they are both so mature in every other aspect of the game. Like they both handle, and
Yeah.
they both are essentially heroes for a cause that they think is really important.
Yeah.
And I like that. To me, that makes it a really compelling. Like, we're about to have these two people clash that
Yeah.
actually aren't bad people, and they're at odds because of they just defer in agreeing on how to do this thing. So because I had an issue with how they all of a sudden made that character flip back at the end of that segment of the game, there's a second fight with a big bad and you're kind of working together, but then as soon as that's over, that character all of a sudden is real mad at you again. I'm like, well, they didn't reveal anything else since you last had it revealed, and you were kind of like, she was like lecturing you throughout that segment, like, you should have told me, you shouldn't have lied to me, but whatever. And like it seemed like there was some animosity, but she wasn't hating him. And then all of a sudden she was like, I will kill you. It was like, oh my word. So that's why the big moment at the end that you talked about, how there's such this impactful moment at the end, that struggled to land for me because I saw it coming.
Okay.
I kind of knew what was going to happen, but I was just like, yeah, but your character has already been kind of ruined by this weird flip-flop moment in the middle. I get it. It was moving, and I think it was Miles' performance, that actor. He really
I think it
delivered
was
me.
both of them for me, bouncing off each other, but
Yeah, their performances were great, and that did make that moment, it was chill-inducing, but it was not like the first Spider-Man did actually have some moments of loss that were like, ooh, that one stings.
Yeah.
This one didn't really sting as much. It was I almost was like, okay, good. Like when that I was like, okay.
Jeez.
There must have been something that was bogging them down, because I don't know if you remember, Tim. I was trying to kind of like not be specific at the time when we were first talking about it, but there's that one scene when they're on the rooftop of a building and they're looking for something. I forget what it was.
It was like the time capsule thing.
Yes, and it's just a super fast scene, and then she just leaves. They have a discussion for literally like 2-3 minutes, and because they've been saying we gotta hang out, when are we gonna hang out?
Each other, yeah.
And like this sort of like that, it's like an important story moment of like kind of like here's their relationship and their past, and they're up there for like 2-3 minutes, and then I forget who. I think she leaves. She's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, she gets like a call from her group or whatever.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like a natural moment for some reason. I again, it's obviously been a few months since I played the game, but like something about that one moment just kind of just there was something off about sort of the way that it flowed, and I'm wondering if that just kind of permeated it throughout the game.
Been. You know? I think they did a great job in most of the areas of making good human connections. I mean, Insomniac has done a great job with their storytelling with both of these past 2 games. I've enjoyed them both.
Yeah.
I just felt like for this one, because it's a much shorter game, like my time with it was over pretty quickly. So I was a little disappointed by that. I was like, oh man, I really just want another full Spider-Man game. That's probably what it was. Some of it is also me just wanting another full. I don't care if it's Miles or Peter or both. I just want a full Spider-Man game again. And so there's a little bit of that too. But when it was over, I was kind of like, yeah, they delivered in most ways that other studios couldn't dream of delivering in terms of story, character, visuals, and gameplay. And so this game is outstanding. And for those reasons alone, you could make an argument it's worth $50. If I had known what I know now, I'd probably be like, yeah, just wait till it drops down to 30 or 40, at least, save yourself 10, 20.
I think honestly, if they tacked on an extra half hour to an hour of like cutscenes to just flesh out those certain moments, that probably actually would have helped substantially.
I think
it would have flowed better.
I think just hearing y'all talk, for me, I think the thing that would fix this is just more time. With telling these stories to maybe make sense.
While you're swinging around could help.
Absolutely, just add a little more context to why some of these flips happen and why some of this happened. I think if you just added a couple more lines of dialogue, even like maybe it would have flowed a little better.
Our buddy Jesse White just finished it too, and he loved it. And I was mentioning it to him, like I'm not sure it was worth 50, but I did enjoy it. But he was like, well, I got the remastered version and this together for 70. And I was like, okay, well, now that value is worth it. You get both of these games for $70, which is a full
You've never
price
played
game
the first one? Yeah. Ugh.
That's amazing. That's a lot of content. Two really great experiences. I would recommend that to folks wholeheartedly. But if you're just hanging on if you've already waited this long to play Miles, like me, if you had waited, then why not wait a little bit longer? You'll get it on sale. It'll drop.
It'll happen soon.
Anyway, love it. Love that game. Before we go, we do got to wrap it up. But anything else you want to mention that you are playing or watching for the next minute or two?
I want to shout out because we didn't. I want to shout out Vision versus Vision. That whole scene in the library with their floating.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin anything, but I'll say a word. Paradox. It was awesome.
That was just cool.
Since we've done full spoilers for WandaVision pretty much. Does that mean that Vision is now essentially reintroduced
That's what I'm wondering.
I have a feeling he is 2 things. He probably is Vision and he probably isn't. You know what I mean? Like because
he kind of downloads all the memories and you see his face kind of soften.
He even says I am Vision, but like, I think he's gonna have a more existential story.
But he has the memories that Wanda gave to her Vision. He doesn't have everything that original.
No, I think he has everything.
No, he unlocked because he's like the memories are in your body. Let me unlock the. Zoid.
There's got to be
hard to remove memories. They're
so
in
he's
got
it.
Unlocks them. Yeah.
But there's got to be something that's missing, right? Because it isn't just gonna suddenly be that he's back. There's gonna be some sort of piece of him that's missing. That they're gonna have to do some sort of.
Well, remember he was made by Thanos, or not Thanos, by Ultron. By Ultron as well. And whenever
because Ultron was building that body for himself.
And Ultron had a plan for him, and maybe that plan got unlocked. Like maybe he that, and he's like, oh, so I don't know. I think there's gonna be a little more to that character than that. And we'll see.
Hey, if we have any excuse to hear more of James Spader's voice as Ultron, I'm down. I'll listen.
I want Ultron back so bad. I think he's a total character we can go back to, and he could be a big bad again.
I just love Robert California's voice on that guy. It's so perfect.
Same. Yeah.
Shout out to Paul Bettany though. He's the one. He's the guy. The actor that plays. He's a great actor. I like his voice. Awesome. I just like his acting. I like just the way he portrays characters. Like
Also,
Yeah,
who
the
would
ga-
have guessed that the younger sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen is actually a phenomenal actress?
I
She
know.
is so wonderful in this show.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well,
They give
and
her
she's been good for a while in other things.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
this is where she's really kind of
If
getting.
y'all have never seen a movie called Wind River with her in it, and Hawkeye for that matter, that movie is wonderful, and she's great in it.
Yeah,
so,
she's really
yeah.
good. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. We're over an hour and a half now, but it's been great talking with you dudes. Thanks, Kyle, for joining and filling in
Thanks for having
that Derek Xbox seat. We always appreciate it.
Next time I'll come with a little more hate so I can kind of hone in that Derek seat.
Yeah,
But,
Well, you gotta say trash a lot. Call people trash.
I've been taking notes just so
yeah,
I can
yeah.
be better next time. A better Derek. So
Their
yeah.
opinions are stupid. My opinion is the best.
I wasn't listening to you right now, Dan, but yeah.
There you go.
There we
you
go.
go.
Okay.
There are times when even if we do say something that Derek's interested in, he'll be like, oh, and he'll turn sideways and start playing that thing that you just talked about. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I just thought I'd download it and try it. Can you do that after the show?
Hey, we almost had him on Valheim. He said he had it floating over the buy button. We almost had him.
If we actually do get a dedicated server going for that, then I think we might be able to convince him to try it with us. Maybe.
He'd have to try it himself. He doesn't want to play with us, and then maybe he'd play with us. Yeah,
I mean, I almost want to go out and buy a beater laptop just to play this game. I'm not even kidding. Like it's.
Telling you, man, a lot of fun.
I feel the FOMO so
Each
hard on this
world
game,
is big
so.
enough that we could have there could be 10 of us in there at different times on a dedicated server, and we could all have our own multiple islands to ourselves if we wanted to. Like
That's
it's
cool.
huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's super cool.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you too for joining. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.